All right, the last question is going to be this one here. So you'll be given your x and y intercepts, and then you will have to find the equation, and then you will have to graph. All right, so it's very similar to what it will look like on the test. Now, there is one more equation that you will get on your test. It will be y is equal to a times x minus alpha times x minus beta. All right, I know in class I was using x1 and x2 instead of the alpha and beta, but I think it's going to be easier for you to differentiate between the x and the x1 and x2 if I write it as alpha and beta. Right? And what you need to do here is your x-intercepts are equal to your alpha and your beta. So it really doesn't matter which one you choose, but one of them gets set equal to your alpha, so let's just say -1, and the other one will get set equal to your beta, so we will just say 4. So we will substitute it in then. Y is equal to a times x, so it's minus -1, so it becomes +1, times x minus our beta, which is 4, so it's -4. So it really doesn't matter which one you substitute in for, but just know that your alpha and your beta, we will substitute in our x-intercepts. Right, now we have one other point that is given to us. We have this y-intercept, and that is the point 0, -2. So this represents the values of x and y. So we know that this graph not only passes through our x-intercepts, but it also passes through the y-intercepts. So we can substitute these in now. So we can substitute 0 in for x and -2 in for y. So it's -2 is equal to a times our x, which is 0, plus 1, our alpha, times our x, which we just said is 0, minus our beta, which is -4. And now when we do this, here we had 3 variables, a, x, and y, so we couldn't solve it when we had 3 variables, but now here we only have 1. So we can solve this equation now with just 1 variable. So we have -2 is equal to a, 0 plus 1 is 1, and 0 minus 4 is -4. So 1 times -4 times a, so -2 is equal to -4. A, divide each side by -4, and that means a is equal to 1/2. So now to solve for our equation, we're going to plug in our a into this part. So we always leave our x and y as x and y when we're solving our final equation. We do not substitute in for the x and y. So it will be, I'm going to do it down here at the bottom, so it will be y is equal to our a, which we just solved as 1/2, times x minus our alpha, which was -1, times x minus our beta, which was 4. And now to solve for this equation, we will have to multiply. X times x gives me x squared. X times -4 gives me -4x. 1 times x gives me plus x. And 1 times -4 gives me -4. So y is equal to 1/2. This will simplify to x squared minus 3x minus 4. Then we will distribute the 1/2 in. So then our final equation, y is equal to 1/2 x squared minus 3/2 x minus 2. So that is our final equation. So y is equal to 1/2 of x squared minus 3/2 x minus 2. All right, now we can easily check our work really quick because we know that our y-intercept is 0, -2. So when we plug in 0 for x, it better give us -2 as our answer. All right, so that is our equation. Now all we have to do is graph this. Well, we have the points of -1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have the y-intercept is 0, -2. So let me put that one in red. This gives it a different color. All right, now we need to go ahead and start finding our vertex, our h and our k. We know we can find our line of symmetry when we're given our 2 x-intercepts very quickly by finding its midpoint. So we can take -1 plus 4 divided by 2. So that means our axis of symmetry is equal to 3/2. So on this 3/2, so that's 1.5, somewhere in the middle between 1 and 2, we can draw the line for our axis of symmetry. So we know our vertex is somewhere along that point, but we don't know exactly where it's at. That's what we need to go ahead and solve for. So then to solve for that, we need to substitute it in. If we know what our x value is, we can solve for our y. So y is equal to 1/2. We know our x is equal to 3/2. So we can plug it in, squared, minus 3/2 times our x, which is 3/2, minus 2. So this will allow for us to solve for the y value of our vertex because we already know the x value is 3/2. Right now, this will give me y is equal to 1/2. We will distribute the square into both. So times 9/4. Then when we multiply this, it'll be minus 9/4 minus 2. Right? Then our next step is we will multiply 1/2 and 9/4. So y is equal to 9/8 minus 9/4 minus 2. Now we will need to get common denominators between them all. So our common denominator, or least common denominator, will be 8. So we'll multiply this by 2/2, and we'll multiply this by 8/8. All right, I know this one's going to be a little bit sloppy or messy with the fractions, but that's okay. Y is equal to 9/8 minus 18/8 minus 16/8. These two will combine to give me y is equal to negative 9/8 minus 16/8. And then our final will be y is equal to negative 25/8. So our vertex is negative 3/2 and negative 25/8. So this was a value of 1.5, which we used to already plot our graph here. We know the next one was negative 25/8. And negative 25/8 is negative 3 1/8. So it's negative 3 and then slightly past it. So to plot this point, we will go 1, 2, 3, and then you will just approximate it slightly past it. Since we are 1.5 away, we are at negative 2. In the other direction, at 1.5 away, we will also be at negative 2. So I will want to see you plot this point using your line of symmetry. And then we will just draw our graph. And there is our graph. All right, that is it, going over all the problems on this review.